Good evening, viewers, and welcome back. This is again PK Shikdar from PK Shikdar's Advanced Learning. Now I am going to talk about the amendments which have been taken place and which are actually being required for May, November, June, and December examinations. So, for the various professional institutes are concerned. Similarly, those will be appearing in the interview. They may also sometimes ask that what are the amendments which have been actually been taken place, and for those also I'm just discussing this. Now, as you know, in YouTube the time is limited, so that's why I'm just going to discuss these amendments in two parts, in two videos. Let us start with the first one. Now, so far the direct tax and income tax is concerned, and computation of total income and tax liability is also concerned, no change in tax rate. Surcharge or income tax for individuals at the rate 10%, provided total income is exceeding rupees 50 lakhs, but it is up to rupees 100 lakhs. At the rate 15%, provided total income is exceeding rupees 100 lakhs, but it is up to rupees 200 lakhs. Then at the rate 25%, provided total income is exceeding rupees 200 lakhs, but it is up to rupees 500 lakhs. And at the rate 37%, provided total income is exceeding rupees 500 lakhs. Now I am coming to next, that is rebate under section 87A. Rebate shall be allowed only if total income is not exceeding rupees 5 lakhs, and rebate shall be allowed up to rupees 12,500. Now I am coming to companies. In case of domestic companies of total turnover or gross receipts in previous year 2017-18 does not exceed rupees 400 crores, tax rate shall be 25%. Now I am coming to residential status, section 9. If any resident has gifted any amount or has gifted any property situated in India to any person outside India, it will be considered to be income accruing or arising from India. Now I am coming to house property head. Earlier, benefit of self-occupied property was allowed for one house only, but now two houses can be treated as self-occupied, but aggregate amount of interest shall not exceed 2 lakhs rupees. Now I am coming to deduction from gross total income. Under this, number 1, section 80C, investment by an employee of the central government as a contribution to a specified account of the pension scheme referred to in section 80 CCD for a period, for a fixed period of not less than 3 years, and which is in accordance with the scheme as may be notified by the central government in the official gazette for the purposes of this clause. Now here there is an explanation. For the purposes of this clause, specified account means an additional account referred to in subsection 3 of section 20 of the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority Act 2013. Number 2, deduction in respect of interest on loan taken for certain house property. Section 80 EEA, it is a new section. Deduction is allowed only to an individual in connection with interest for the loan taken for the purchase or construction of a residential house, and such loan should have been sanctioned by the financial institutions from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. Stamp duty value of such house should not exceed rupees 45 lakhs. The assessee should not have any residential house property in his name on the date of sanction of loan. Maximum deduction allowed shall be equal to the interest payable on such loan, but maximum rupees 1,50,000 per year. Remember, this is in addition to deduction under section 24 subsection B. Loan should have been taken from any financial institutions. Now I am coming to next, deduction in respect of purchase of electric vehicle, section 80 EEB. It is a new section. In computing the total income of an assessee, being an individual, there shall be deducted in accordance with and subject to the provisions of this Act interest payable on loan taken by him from any financial institution for the purpose of purchase of an electric vehicle. The deduction under subsection 1 shall not exceed 1,50,000 rupees and shall be allowed in computing the total income of the individual for the assessment year beginning on the first day of April 2020 and subsequent assessment years. Now I am coming to deduction of tax at source. In this, number 1 is TDS in case of interest other than interest on securities, section 194A. Earlier limit was rupees 10,000 for all assessee except senior citizen, but now it shall be taken as rupees 40,000. Number 2, TDS in case of rent, section 194, I capital letter. Earlier limit was rupees 1,80,000, but now it shall be taken as rupees 2,40,000. Number 3, section 194 DA. Earlier in section 194 DA, rate of TDS was 1%, but now instead of 1%, it shall be 5% on the amount of income. Number 4, section 194 IA. Consideration for immovable property shall include all charges of the nature of club membership, car parking fees, electricity or water facility fees, maintenance fee, advance fee, or any other charges of similar nature which are incidental to transfer of the immovable property. Now coming to number 5, payment of certain sums by certain individuals or HUF, section 194M, that is a new section. Any person being an individual or a HUF responsible for paying any sum to any resident for carrying out any work in pursuance of a contract or by way of fees for professional services during the financial year shall at the time of credit of such sum or at the time of payment of such sum in cash or by issue of a check or draft or by any other mode, whichever is earlier, deduct an amount equal to 5% of such sum as income tax thereon. Coming to number 6, payment of certain amounts in cash, section 149N, that is a new section. Every person being, number 1, a banking company to which the Banking Regulation Act 1949 applies. Number 2, a cooperative society engaged in carrying on the business of banking. Or number 3, a post office who is responsible for paying any sum or, as the case may be, aggregate of sums in cash in excess of 1 crore rupees during the previous year to any person herein referred to as the recipient from an account maintained by the recipient, with it shall, at the time of payment of such sum, deduct an amount equal to 2% of sum exceeding 1 crore rupees as income tax. Now I am coming to provisions for filing of return of income. Section 139, subsection 1. Earlier, individual, HUF, etc. shall be required to file the return of income if gross total income is exceeding exemption limit, but now gross total income shall include exemption under section 54, 54B, 54D, 54EC, 54F, 54G, 54GA, 54GB, if any availed by the assessee. Number 2, following person shall also be required to file return of income who, number 1, has deposited an amount or aggregate of the amounts exceeding 1 crore rupees in one or more current accounts maintained with a banking company or a cooperative bank, or number 2, has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amounts exceeding 2 lakhs rupees for himself or any other person for travel to a foreign country, or number 3, has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amounts exceeding 1 lakh rupees towards consumption of electricity, or number 4, fulfills such other condition as may be prescribed. Coming to number 3, permanent account number 139A. CBDT shall notify certain transactions, and any person entering into such transactions shall also be required to apply for allotment of PAN. Further, wheresoever a person was required to quote PAN, now such person is allowed to mention Aadhaar number or PAN, and rest portion I am going to discuss in my immediate next video.